Noob D&D Dad here. We're going to talk about my son's game, session 16 through 19 probably. They're going to one of my favorite places in the Dragon of Icespire Peak, which is the Shrine of Savras. And I've already run the Shrine of Savras for my veterans group that I'm DMing for, and it was very, very different than my son's game. And so, stay tuned to see how you can make the exact same place in the same campaign be totally different. All right, so as they're approaching the shrine, using the number of people calculator, I put 12 orcs and 3 ogres in it. And so my party rolls up on the thing, and they have a ballista. I don't remember the exact order of events of the combat, but they fire the ballista at the one tower that's still intact on the shrine that I've got 3 orcs up there. So here's the shrine. So they fire the ballista up at this tower that has 3 orcs in it. And I think they rolled pretty poorly. And so I just have the giant ballista bolt go above the guys and hit, there's a little, this isn't in the book, but I have the tower have a little wooden lid thing over the top of it. So I have the ballista just hit that and just rip it off the top, and it falls down into the courtyard and does some damage to some of the orcs down in the courtyard. Also, when they first started coming up upon the shrine, I had their just all kinds of drums playing inside, just bonga bonga bonga, big old skin drums, and little confetti shooting up above the walls they're having a party in there. Anyway, so they fire the ballista off, and so the orcs start hucking their javelins, but they're out of range. And so an ogre comes out the front to confront them, and some orcs. And so my party's kind of backpedaling as they're just shooting everything they have at these guys, trying to kill them, because once the ogre gets to them, it's going to be over. Not that this is supposed to make any sense to you, but as the bad guys are coming out of the shrine to attack the party, I'm having to keep track of everybody's distances. So as my party's backpedaling to not get killed, and as the orcs and ogres are coming at them, I have to keep track of everybody's distance from everybody so that I can pay attention to how far the javelins can throw, how far the ballista can shoot, and then the various magical spells that my guys are shooting at them. Also, at this point in the campaign, I'm still struggling with how to handle lycanthropy, because I've read different ways online, and so the way the book reads is so confusing. So I think what I finally settled on is he's only has all those damage immunities while in full rat form, because otherwise you could just run through every level and just kill everybody and not die. So that's what I've settled on. Let me know what you think on there. So anyway, they kill the guys that are coming out after them. And actually, I did another weird thing. So, one of the guys in the tower tries to throw a javelin at them, and he rolls a natural 1. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna be dramatic. So he throws it, and he just I guess he doesn't let go or whatever, and he just kind of tosses himself over off of the tower, and then I created a DC for one of the other orcs to grab his feet and save him. And that orc rolled really, really poorly. And so this guy rolls a natural 1, is throwing himself over the edge of the tower, and then another orc goes to grab his feet, but he rolled terribly, so he just pulled his shoes off, and then the guy just falls down and impaled himself on his own javelin. So I know that's ridiculous. I know it kind of kills the sinisterness of some of the enemies, but it makes my son laugh. He's 8 years old, and he laughs, and we all have a good laugh. So, and also I figured there's so many bad guys that if they roll a natural 1, sometimes they can die in really heinous and stupid ways. Okay, so they come up to the edge of the shrine. Over here, where the wall's kind of broken, and in the courtyard, I have some more orcs over here. There's an ogre down here, and some more orcs over here, right? So I have the party sneak around. One more thing before the sneaking. So the veterans group, because I'm DMing for 2 groups, right? They found some homemade explosives in a prepper cabin's basement. And I've been wanting to find a way to get those same explosives into the hands of my son and my friend and the nephew who are playing in this campaign. And I never really found a natural way to get them into scrounging through a building or whatever. And so I just had the ogre that they killed out in front on the north side of the shrine have some explosives on his belt. Because why not? So, my son's creeping around the edge of the thing, and he rolls like the highest roll possible for stealth. So I'm like, all right. So they take these. So what the bombs are is it's 10 little leather bags full of gunpowder and sharp pieces of metal with little fuses coming out of them. And they had previously found like 15 feet of fuse or something, and they had also previously found like 6 feet of chain. So they decide to put all these bombs together, wrap it up with chain to create more shrapnel. I was very impressed with that. And then using my son's crazy stealth roll, he goes around the corner and into the wall, and he kind of like rolls the bomb, and they light. They only had 15 feet of fuse, so then he runs off, and they use like a fire bolt or some cantrip, some fiery cantrip to light the end of the fuse, and I think it's 6 orcs and an ogre. And once they see the fuse burning, I have some of them like run towards it, and it explodes, and it does 46 damage because each bomb, I think it's 1d4 like piercing and 1d4 fire damage, and it's splash damage. I think that's what I decided per bomb. I can't remember. Anyway, it ended up being 46 damage, and so it just liquefies 6 orcs and then does a huge amount of damage to an ogre. Anyway, they're having an absolute blast, blowing up all these orcs, liquefying them, and then of course there's still some more in the courtyard come running around, and they fight them off not too difficultly. So once they go inside of the shrine, this is where I have the mission or the level or whatever differ quite a bit from the veterans campaign. So these guys go in and they fight the last few guys, and there's an ogre in there, and I usually like to have an orc riding the ogre's back just for fun. And so they kill everybody in there, and then when they go to the altar right here, boop, they go have this special vision that shows them icespire hold where the dragon is. And the front of the altar has like an eyeball on it, and one of my favorite things to do after they have the vision is, once the vision's over, have the picture of the eyeball be closed. And the book says that if you move the altar, there's like a little cutout underneath it where there's like a little bit of treasure in there. And I just some of the people in my comments have told me that they've added like basements to certain places, and I'm just like, I gotta do that. I want to do a basement here. Now I added a ladder going down under the shrine, and this is just improv, like before I even knew what was going to be down there. So I decided to have, this is the stairs going down, and then there's different chambers here. So different chambers under the shrine. So going straight down the ladder in that little square room, I've been really wanting to put a gelatinous cube into this game, and I decided that because my initial test, what I wanted to do, because I'm completely new to DMing and really to D&D, is I wanted to just have the essentials kit and see if it's enough, right? If you could just play just out of the essentials kit and totally have everything you need. And that's absolutely true. Like, you can definitely do that. And so now that I've kind of established that, like, my little test is over, I'm willing to just take a gelatinous cube out of the monster manual or anything else, any other improv to enhance the game. So at the bottom of the ladder, I have a gelatinous cube, and my son's like, I'm gonna climb down there, and I'm talking about how it's like a little shimmering, like catching the light, and they're just like, what? And he's like, I'm gonna stick my hand in there or whatever. Or my friend's like, stick your foot in it. And I made a face, right? Like, as a DM, I try to have a poker face, but I'm like, oh. And then my friend's like, I think he realized, he's like, oh, it's a gelatinous cube. Anyway, so then they like toss something down there, and they realize that they should not stick their foot in it. Okay, but before this, they discovered that there's the giant gold bell on the top of the shrine, and they climb up on the roof, and then my son just starts shooting firebolts at the wooden frame until it catches on fire. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna burn the shrine down. And I'm like, and I just keep explaining that the fire is expanding and expanding. And my friend's like, you can use like a frost spray or like whatever cold spell you have. Anyway, so they finally put the fire out, but the bell just like drops and smashes into the ground and like kind of creates like a little bit of a hole, like there's a cavern underneath. Anyway, so back to the gelatinous cube. So there's the gelatinous cube in the middle, and then the 4 rooms around the edges, I have 2 wererats in each. So they got stuck down there when their people left and the orcs came. The gelatinous cube got them stuck down there. Now, I'm still not 100% sure why, but at one point the party drags a dead ogre body over to the hole in the ground that the bell made when it fell down, and they want to shove the body down the hole. So they end up cutting its arms off so they can shove it down the hole. And I normally don't want stuff that graphic in my son's game, but that's just what they decided to do. So they shove this ogre body down the hole, and it clogs the hallway. So normally I don't like stuff that graphic in my son's campaign, but that's what they decided they wanted to do. So they shove this ogre body down this hole, and it clogs up the hallway between the wererats and the gelatinous cube. So then they decide to climb down the ogre body, and then they meet the wererats, and they're very surprised that they're down there. And because the wererats got cut off from their people when all their people went to the gold mine. So anyway, the gelatinous cube starts coming after them, and it starts melting through the ogre body to get to them. So they run up the ogre, they climb back up the ogre body, back into the main room, and them and the wererats, they battle the gelatinous cube. Now the wererats see that our fighter has turned into a wererat, and so they're suspicious, but they kind of trust them. Anyway, so they join forces and they fight the gelatinous cube. And one thing that I love about exploding creatures is when their insides are acidic, and so when the gelatinous cube explodes when they kill it, I had them all take acid damage if they weren't quick enough to jump out of the way. So some of them take some acid damage, and then they start talking, and these players had previously been to the Mountain Toll gold mine where they had killed all the rats there, like every single one of them. And so they basically tell the rats that their families are still back at the gold mine. So then the rats, I think they're going to keep the shrine, and they're going to go try to retake the gold mine. So my players just totally lie to them about what's going on at the gold mine. Because when they show up, they're going to see Don John Raskin and all of his miners like operating there and all the dead rats. And so that lie has got to come back and haunt them in the future. So I'm delighted to think of how that will happen. But yeah, it's so interesting because the veteran group that I'm DMing for, like, they love the shrine and they're going to turn it into like their living space. Spoiler. And then this group is just like, oh yeah, here you go, rats, you can have it. And it's interesting because to see what my son's group, what they latch onto, what they want to keep, or what they want to turn into their like headquarters. Oh yeah, so the players tell the rats that the mine collapsed. And so 2 rats stay at the shrine, 5 rats go to the gold mine, and then my players are going to go to Conyberry. They've been so excited to go to Conyberry. They don't know that it is completely destroyed. All right, but before they step off to go to Conyberry, I had them find a little bit of a treasure hoard, and so once again I use this table. This table in the DM guide. Got it tabbed because I love it so much. So the treasure hoard table. So I love having them roll a d100, and then this is what I do for coinage. I don't as of right now I don't do the coin part of the treasure hoard because it hasn't actually been quite a hoard yet, and so I really love that table for finding treasure. If there's a certain item I want them to have, like, I'll make sure that they find it. Or the book oftentimes is like, they find this item. So I make sure and give them those items. But when they go through like a pretty good fight, like, I do like them to do the treasure hoard. And, I mean, they could get something as simple as a healing potion or something as crazy as like a cool magic item. And so I think I've been having a lot of fun with the treasure hoard rolling, and so I definitely did that at the end as they're leaving the shrine, and they discovered like a secret thing down where the gelatinous cube was, and they distracted the rats. Like they distracted the rats so that they could go down and get the treasure without them. I thought it was kind of fun. All right, this has been sessions 16, 17, 18, and 19 for my son's group, my son, my friend, and my nephew. So quite a few events there, and a very different Shrine of Savras than the Veterans group. So definitely go look at how the Veterans group did the shrine in their campaign. Okay, my players are off to Conyberry next time, so stay tuned. So again, I'm DMing for the Veterans group, my son's group, and then I'm going to start doing little kid Dungeons and Dragons for my 3-year-old, 5-year-old, and 8-year-old. So stay tuned. Please do the YouTube things. It lets me know that you're into this. And I love to hear your comments and your feedback. So thank you so much for watching this very high quality, high production value production from Noob D&D Dad. So we will see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.